You don't need motivation. What you lack is discipline. Motivation is this wavering sense of energy that comes and goes like the winds. Some mornings you're inspired, and other mornings you're not. So what? You're going to wait for the right feeling to hit you before you get going? You're going to wait for the energy to move you before you tackle the day? You're doing it all wrong. You're putting the cart before the horse. You're thinking that if I'm motivated, then I'll accomplish great things. So let me focus on the emotion and then I'll get moving. But you can't count on that motivation to be there consistently. What you need is discipline. See, discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you had a bad night, a bad week, or even a bad month. Discipline says, regardless of my feelings, regardless of my results, I'm sticking to the plan. I'm going to keep with the must-dos of my life, because if I don't, then I'll never get what I truly want. Discipline is doing the little things on a daily basis, whether you feel like it or not. It doesn't ask for motivation. It's simply making daily decisions in spite of the circumstances, very often going against your mood or energy level. Discipline is putting off the short-term pain for the long-term gain. Discipline is taking on the difficult now to avoid the pain of regret later. You see, you'll never regret doing more than what is required. You'll never regret putting in the extra effort. You're not going to wake up months or years from now and say, thank goodness I hit that snooze alarm. Or thank goodness I skipped all those workouts. Or I put off all those difficult conversations. You'll only regret the things you didn't do. But unfortunately, that feeling of regret only appears after the moment has passed. After enough time has gone on where you look back and you see that nothing's changed. Discipline says, let's not let the moment pass. It understands that it's the actions of today that will affect my tomorrow. So stop waiting for motivation and start embracing discipline. Like the quote says, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait until you get the bill for regret. What is required for success is action. It's not the emotional inspiration that motivation brings us. But I promise you this, if you want to bring the emotional energy into you, then take the actions and the feelings will start to develop. Like I say to my clients, if you're not inspired to go to the gym, tell you what, just go for 5 minutes. If you're not inspired to read that book, just commit to reading for 5 minutes. And guess what happens? That 5 minutes gets the momentum going. Suddenly my uninspired state begins to make a shift. The 5 minutes turns into 10, 20, or 30, and before you know it, the workout is complete, or that chapter has been finished. It wasn't that the motivation got me started, it was the actions. My discipline brought about the motivation. Let me ask you this. Was there ever a workout you regret doing? Hardly. Was there ever a regret for not doing the workout? More likely. So there you have it. You don't need motivation. You just need discipline. When you're buying, understand that the cost isn't exactly the cost. Let me explain. We assume the price out the door is the cost. But there's more to it. So often we look at the upfront cost, or the quote-unquote price of acquisition as it's commonly known, as being the fee. We see it as the price tag. Maybe add in some taxes or a warranty. And there you go, we've arrived at our cost. Well, not so fast. That TV you bought has a cost. Do you recall where you bought it? How much was it? You might answer a few $100s or more, because in your mind, you're thinking out-of-pocket expense. But there's always a cost that we don't see. We don't even think about it because our brains don't exactly look for it. So no wonder it doesn't come to mind. That TV may have been a few $100s, but what's the true cost? I'm referring to the hours that you'll be mindlessly watching that TV instead of allocating those hours to something much more productive. That TV is costing you time. Time that you could be using towards building a business, playing with your kids, exercising, or learning a new trade. If that TV is taking hours away from you starting a business, then I dare say it's actually costing you much more than the out-of-pocket expense. Watching TV a few hours a day adds up to thousands of hours a year, and then potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost revenue in the business you didn't start. So think about the purchases you've made recently. Now that you've been made aware, what are they actually costing you? And costs just aren't on material items. This also applies to physical actions too. Let's look at exercising. You might see the costs as a monthly membership or the time and the physical exertion. But let's look at it another way. What's the cost of not exercising? How much is that going to cost you in the future? Not exercising potentially means more doctor's visits, a higher risk of sickness or ailments, maybe less energy to play with your kids now. We all know the benefits of exercising, but some see the cost as too high because they're looking at it wrong. I see the cost of not doing it as much higher, so I'll save by exercising now. The cost is not always the cost. There's two ways to look at it. First, what's the cost if I pay it? Or second, what's the cost if I don't pay it? Spend wisely, my friends. Have you ever noticed how the smallest of actions can lead to the most incredible changes in your life? Imagine you're standing at the edge of a vast forest, the towering trees representing the obstacles between you and your goals or your dreams. It's overwhelming, isn't it? But what if I told you that the key to navigating this forest isn't about taking giant leaps, but rather it's making subtle, intentional steps? Let me share the story of a young man with a common goal that many of us can relate to. Thomas was a former athlete, and he fell out of shape after entering the business world. He was upset with himself for allowing himself to get out of shape, and he hated the way he looked. But more importantly, he hated the way he felt. So he decided it was time to make some changes, but he was overwhelmed by the thought of starting with a full workout session. So instead of setting grandiose goals that seemed out of reach, he decided to make small, subtle changes. He began by dedicating just 10 minutes each morning to exercise. 10 minutes, that's all. At first, 10 minutes felt insignificant. But as the days passed, Thomas noticed something remarkable. Those 10 minutes grew into 20 and then 30. His stamina improved. His confidence soared, and he was loving his new physique. The key wasn't in the grand gestures, but in the consistent, tiny actions that compounded over time. There's the famous line that I'm sure you've heard before that says, "The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step." This wisdom holds true for every area of our lives. The journey to your dreams, the path to self-improvement, begins not with the giant leaps, but with one small, deliberate step. Think about your own life for a moment. Is there something you've been putting off because the task seems too daunting? Perhaps it's learning a new skill, adopting a healthier lifestyle, or working towards a personal goal. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, start small. Take that first step. It might be just 5 minutes of focused work, a short walk, or a single page of a book. See yourself in the future, where you want to be, who you want to become. Identify as the person you'll be when those small changes have compounded into something significant. The journey starts now, and it's within your power to take that first step. Remember that transformation begins with the decision that something must change, and it must change now. So if you're in agreement, what's going to be your first step? How will you begin your journey today? Embrace the power of small changes and watch how they create a ripple effect, leading to extraordinary outcomes. The path to success starts with that one small step. Let's make today count. Sometimes we all need a little boost just to remind ourselves of how incredible we actually are. Life is a journey full of twists and turns, and it's easy to get lost along the way, but don't let the fears stop you from doing what is necessary. Reminder number 1, you've already overcome so much. Think back to the challenges you faced. Remember those times when it felt like the world was against you? Well, guess what? You made it through. You turned those tough moments into building blocks. Every obstacle you've overcome has made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Never forget that. Your past struggles are just proof of your inner strength. You've been a warrior before, and you have the power to be one again. Reminder number 2, your strengths are your superpowers. You have unique talents and abilities that set you apart. Whether it's your creativity, your determination, or your kindness, these are what separate you from everybody else. They're what make you, you. Embrace them. Let them guide you towards your goals. When you tap into your true potential, you unlock doors you never even knew existed. Trust in your strengths. They've been your allies all along. Reminder number 3, the past does not define your future. Your past doesn't have to be a cage that limits your potential. It's simply a chapter in your story, not the whole book. Every day is a new page, a new opportunity to create the life you want. Don't let past mistakes or failures hold you back. Use them as the lessons they were to propel yourself forward. Your future is wide open, full of possibilities, just waiting for you to grab hold. Reminder number 4, you have the ability to achieve great things. Look around you. Everything you see was once just an idea in someone's mind. The only difference between a dream and reality is action. You have the ability to turn your dreams into achievements. It might take hard work and persistence, but you can handle that. Your potential is limitless, and your dreams are valid. So go after them with everything you've got. Reminder number 5, your journey is unique. No one else has your exact combination of experiences, skills, and dreams. Your journey is uniquely yours, and that's something to celebrate. Embrace your path with all its ups and downs. Every experience has shaped you into who you are today. Keep moving forward with confidence, knowing that your journey is perfectly tailored to your growth and success. So as you go about your day, remember these reminders. You're strong, capable, and ready to achieve amazing things. Your past has made you resilient. Your strengths are your superpowers. and your future is full of endless possibilities. Keep believing in yourself and watch how far you can go. Whether you're a student, a professional, an entrepreneur, or an athlete, there's a process, a recipe to achieve success. It doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter what your chosen field is. This process, if you follow it to a T, will see you achieve your chosen goal. I'm about to reveal the secret, so are you ready? Now the good news is it's only 4 steps. And you can do all of these. There's no special talent required. Anyone can succeed if they follow the recipe. So if you're ready to change your life, let's get started. In my private coaching, I call these the 4 pillars of success. Step number 1, know what you want. Sounds simple, kind of straightforward, right? But it's the foundation of everything that you're going to achieve. Imagine you're heading out on a road trip. You wouldn't just drive aimlessly and hope you end up where you want to go. No, you would have the destination in mind. That's exactly how it works with your goals. You need to define your vision. Get clear on it. What does success look like for you? Picture it. Write it down and let the image drive you forward. Once you know what you want, step number 2, it's time to make the plan. Think of this as your roadmap. Break down your big goal into smaller, manageable steps, and then create a timeline for each of these steps. This doesn't have to be perfect or set in stone. Think of it more as a guide than a rule book. Plans can and they should change, so adapt as you move forward. The key is to have the structure that keeps you on track. All right, so we have the goal, we have a plan written down. Step number 3, it's time to execute the plan. This is where the rubber meets the road. We start working on those steps. Remember, it's okay if things don't go exactly as planned. It's about consistency, not perfection. Progress requires action. It's your daily choices and decisions that will affect your outcome. You're not going to see the changes right away, but believe me, the wheels have been set in motion. The journey to success often requires tweaks along the way, so don't be afraid to pivot if something isn't working. Step number 4, and here's the part that separates the dreamers from the doers. You gotta grind it out. Persistence is your best friend. Success doesn't come overnight. It's the result of consistent effort and unwavering commitment. There's going to be obstacles, and there's going to be days when you feel like giving up. But this is where your determination shines. Keep pushing forward, keep the faith, and believe in yourself. Your hard work will pay off. Here's the truth. There's no secret to success. You've heard all of this before. The journey to success requires hard work, commitment, and time. Just follow the 4 steps. Know what you want. Make a plan. Execute the plan, and then grind it out. You have the power to achieve greatness. It's already within you. The real question is, will you do what is required? If you want more, then you have to do more. There's no shortcut. Stop looking for easy and just get working. There's a mindset that on the surface, you might feel is the one we need to achieve anything worthwhile. We may even try to initiate this mindset, thinking that if I embrace it, it's going to propel me through the challenges of the day. But the truth is, this mindset is often what holds us back because it's literally setting you up to fail. And what I'm talking about is the idea that what I do, I have to do it my best, or I need to be perfect whenever I'm performing a task. If these thoughts enter your mind, I want you to challenge them right away, because they're going to do more harm than good. Let's tackle each one of these so we can better understand how they're actually hurting us. First, the idea that I need to give my best. Again, on the surface, it sounds like this modus operandi is ideal. However, what is your best? Your best is subjective. I mean, how often are you really able to give your best? Or rather, when was the last time you felt at 100%? Yes, giving your best sounds great, but the truth is, we are very rarely operating at 100%. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I woke up from a perfect sleep and stepped into my day without any aches or pains. Fact is, we're almost never at 100%. So why do we think that we must give our best when we're never there? I'll expand on this in a minute to give clarification, but let's look at the second mindset I brought up, the idea that what I do, I must be perfect. This expectation is totally setting you up for failure. When the brain hears perfection, it goes into survival mode and looks for ways to keep us safe. So instead of leaping forward with zest and gusto, our brain blocks that energy and very often prevents us from even getting started. After all, with this mindset, what's the point of doing it if I can't do it perfectly? That's the battle that's happening in our minds. Perfection, especially on a daily basis, is totally unrealistic. So block this idea whenever it enters your mind. Both of these mindsets, giving our best or being perfect, stops our progress. So let's expose these mindsets and try another approach. What we need to do is we need to embrace the idea or the importance of just showing up. It's not necessary for you to be at your best. What is necessary is that you do what is required. Big difference. It's not necessary that you be perfect. What is necessary is that you complete the task. I think you'll find that if you just show up and give what you can, you'll actually be giving your best. If you're only at 80%, but you give everything you've got, well, then you've given 100%. It may not be your best, but it's everything that you could give on that day. It wasn't perfect, but you showed up and you finished the job. The daily events individually aren't what matters. It's the accumulation of these daily events over time that make the difference. So stop with the mindset that you have to give your best. Instead, give what you can, and stop with the idea that it has to be perfect. Setting your expectations too high will only prevent you from getting started. Show up, give what you can, and repeat the pattern. It's the best way to achieve your goal. If money were no object, how would your life be different? Take a moment and really think about it. Imagine you've got unlimited cash, no bills, no limits, just endless possibilities. How would your life change? What would you do differently? See, most of us spend our lives chasing money, hoping that it'll solve our problems or bring us happiness. But let's be honest, when people are at the end of their lives, they rarely wish they'd spent more time in the office. Instead, they often wish they'd spent their time differently, pursuing their dreams with more passion. So what if we flip the script? Instead of focusing on earning more, let's think about how we would live if money was already taken care of. For instance, would you pursue your passions? Maybe you've always wanted to be a painter, write a book, or start a small business. If money wasn't the worry, would you finally give yourself permission to follow those dreams? Or would you spend more time with loved ones? Imagine having the freedom to spend quality time with family and friends without the stress of a 9-to-5 job. What moments would you cherish with them if you didn't have to constantly hustle for money? What about travel and exploration? Have you ever dreamt of traveling the world, experiencing new cultures, or simply finding a new place to call home? With unlimited funds, how would your adventures shape your life? Or maybe you'd live to give back. Perhaps you've always wanted to contribute to causes you care about or help those in need. If you weren't worried about your own finances, how would you use your resources to make a difference? Reflecting on these questions can be incredibly eye-opening. It's not about how much money we have. It's about how we choose to live our lives. We often get so caught up in making a living that we forget to build a life. So here's a challenge for you. Start living today as if you already have what you need. What small steps can you take towards your dreams or passions? How can you shift your focus from merely getting through the day to truly making memories? It doesn't require $1 million to make meaningful changes. Think about it. Your time, your happiness, and your experiences are what truly matter. So let's begin crafting a life that we'll look back on with pride rather than one filled with regrets. Remember, it's not about the money. It's about the life you choose to live. Keep striving for your dreams and live with purpose. Becoming the best version of yourself, I know, can be challenging. If you're searching and you're trying to figure things out, that task can feel overwhelming. You're not sure where to start. You don't know what the process is. How do I become the person that I want to be? All of it can be very confusing. So here's my story. At around 14 or 15, I made a decision that I was going to be an NHL hockey player. Because at the time, I'd made a club volleyball team, and their practices conflicted with my hockey team's practices. So my parents had to sit me down and say, look, you have to choose between the two. You can't do both. I remember thinking, well, there's no professional volleyball league, so I guess I'll go for this hockey thing. I had no idea how I was going to make the NHL. I'd never really been in the gym before. I didn't know what it took to be a hockey player. I just thought it'd be a really cool thing to be. So I literally had no idea where to start. But then I remember there was a player in my small town that was already playing in the OHL, which for you that don't know, it's an elite junior hockey league, maybe the best junior league in the world. Now, because I knew the family, in fact, they own the local sports store, so I was in there frequently, I asked them a couple of questions. If I don't know how to become a hockey player, the questions were simply, hey, how does he train? What does he eat? See, if I was going to be a hockey player, I needed to know what to do. So they said to come back in a few days. They'd have it all written out. I went back. There it was. His meal plans, his exercise program, everything I'd need to get started. So then I just got to work. I made the necessary changes in my diet. I got the workouts going and things. I was now living as a hockey player. I didn't need to figure things out. I just needed the recipe. I just needed to know what steps to take in order to get a similar result for myself. So herein lies the lesson. If you can identify someone who's living the life you'd like, or they're accomplishing things that you'd like to accomplish, you don't have to go blindly into the world and try to figure things out. In fact, doing that, you're likely to repeat a lot of the same mistakes they made. So save yourself some time. All you need to do is follow the path that they've created. For anything you want to accomplish, there's a recipe out there. You don't need to try and figure it out. You just need to follow the steps for the goal that you want to achieve. But first, you need to know which path to follow. And that starts with identifying who you're going to model. Who's that person out there that you'd like to be like? For me, it was that local hockey player that was already on his journey. I figured if I just did what he did, I should get a similar result. And this goes for any achievement you want. You model the model, and you should get similar results. Maybe not exactly the same. I mean, after all, you have gifts that they don't have, and they have gifts that you don't. but overall the recipe should net a similar result. It's like going into the bake shop and you see a beautiful cake and think, I'd like to make that cake. So the baker hands you the recipe. You put all the ingredients together, you follow the recipe step by step, you're going to produce a beautiful cake. Maybe not exactly the same as the baker, but it should be close. So if you're lost and you're trying to figure out how to become the person you want to be or to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, find your model. Find that baker who'll give you the recipe. Sometimes we make things harder than they need to be. The path is already out there. Find it, and you'll find your happiness. Loss, while incredibly painful, can ultimately lead us to discover new strengths and opportunities for growth. Loss is something that every one of us will experience at some point, whether it's the passing of a loved one, the end of a significant relationship, or any form of profound change. The immediate impact can feel overwhelming. It's a time marked by intense grief and an emotional weight that almost seems too heavy to bear. And although the pain of loss is profound and undeniable, it also holds the potential to be a catalyst for significant personal transformation. As we navigate through our grief, we can discover ways to reclaim our power and reshape our lives in ways we never imagined. It's important to acknowledge that grief is a natural response to loss. It's not something we should rush through or even suppress. Allow yourself to feel, to mourn, and to process your emotions. By confronting our grief head on, we begin to understand our emotions better and open ourselves up to eventual growth. Consider using this time of loss as an opportunity for self-reflection. Often we're so caught up in our daily routines that we forget to question our true desires and goals. Loss forces us to slow down and reevaluate what truly matters to us. It's a chance to reassess our priorities and make meaningful changes in our lives. Loss very often reveals what is most important to us, such as family, friends, or personal pursuits. It's crucial to channel our energy into actions that align with our new sense of purpose. Engage in activities that nurture your soul and contribute to your well-being. This might mean picking up a new hobby, pursuing a long-held dream, or investing in relationships that bring you joy. See, by focusing on these positive actions, we begin to shift our perspective from what we've lost to what we can gain. Resilience isn't about avoiding the pain, but rather about learning how to navigate through it and come out stronger on the other side. Each step you take towards healing is a testament to your inner strength. The challenges you face today are shaping you into a more resilient and empowered person for tomorrow. Finally, share your journey with others. Seek support from friends, family, and professional counselors who can offer guidance and comfort. Sometimes the act of helping others through their own struggles can provide a new sense of purpose and healing. As we reflect on our loss, understand that while this experience is undeniably traumatic, it also offers a profound opportunity for personal growth. By embracing our grief, reflecting on our lives, taking positive actions, and building resilience, we transform our pain into a powerful source of strength and renewal. Embrace the journey. Find your strength, and remember that even in the darkest moments, there's the potential for a brighter, more empowered future. What if I told you that there's a powerful force, that if you can tap into it, you can accomplish anything you wish? What if I told you that this powerful force is everywhere? And what if I told you that this powerful force resides inside you right now? Would you be excited? Would you like to know what it is? Well, like I said, you already own this force and you're using it every day. You're making decisions, living your life based on this force, but you may not even be aware that you're using it or the true power it possesses. Your identity, your decisions, and how you act are all based on this force. You've created this force over years, perhaps your lifetime, through experiences or your environment. It's so powerful that it can lift you through troubled times like a superhero, or it can shut you down in an instant. This force, believe it or not, is your belief system. Who you are, what you're capable of, how you act. These are all directly related to what you believe to be true or what you believe not to be true. Like Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's our belief system that allows us to accomplish great things. When you believe that you can achieve, you'll find a way. No obstacles are too big when your belief system says that it's possible. Every successful story began with an unwavering belief that I can and I will make this happen. It didn't start with the how. It started with the belief. And as long as I maintain this belief, even against all the forces that challenge it, if I hold on to what I believe to be true, my vision, my goal will become reality. It's only when the forces block my vision and make me start to question my beliefs will my stable foundation begin to crumble. See, when I believe in the outcome, I'll find a way. It's when I lose the belief that I start to question my abilities, or maybe the realization that my goal might be out of reach. When we block ourselves from moving towards our goals, it's because we've created the limiting belief. The idea that I'm not good enough, or that's only for other people. Again, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So many talented, beautiful people have given up on their dreams because they simply lost the belief that they were capable or deserving. So let me remind you, you are capable and you are deserving. You can do it. You just need to keep the belief. You don't have to know how it's going to work out. You just need to believe that it will. By hanging on to our beliefs, we find a way. Obstacles and challenges are just that. They're things to overcome or go around. They're not permanent barriers unless we allow them to be so. You have this superpower in you now. Use it to its fullest capabilities, because believers are achievers. Do you consider yourself strong? And you can frame my question any way you like, be it physical strength or mental strength. Take a minute right now to give yourself a self-evaluation. But consider this. What made you strong? If it's the physical strength you've been pondering, what made those muscles? If it was your mental strength, what brought on your inner power? I'll answer both of these questions because in each case, what made you stronger was resistance. See, you didn't build those muscles unless you were lifting or pushing something heavy. You needed the resistance to force those muscles to grow. That mental strength you've got, well, it came from overcoming experiences or reframing past experiences to your advantage. When life brought you challenges, you took them on and they made you stronger. And that's where I want to go with this video. Because so many of us try to avoid the very things that ultimately will make us stronger. We try to avoid the resistance because it's uncomfortable. But we forget that this temporary pain will only make us stronger in the long run. It's all about how we view the situation. If I want bigger muscles, I have to hit the weights and do the uncomfortable things. Because what'll happen is the muscles will repair and they'll grow bigger. There's no other way. Same thing for mental strength. I can't skip the uncomfortable situations and think that I'll be better off for it. No, the way to build that mental muscle is to go through what is uncomfortable. Because when I do, after the dust has settled, I'll see that I've survived. And now I have the knowledge and experience that these situations have brought me. The reason we try to avoid growth, be it physical or mental, is because it's uncomfortable. We've attached pain to it. What we forget to see is that beyond the pain, well, there lies the pleasure. There lies the growth we'll get by having gone through the pain. Take a minute right now and think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's going to the gym, or it's a project that you keep delaying because you're not sure where to start. What pain have you attached to it? Write it down. Let it sink in. Now, write down what pleasure you'll get by taking action now. Feel it enter your body. Remember that you've overcome so much already, and all of it has made you stronger. This next chapter is no different. These little challenges or obstacles you're facing right now, well, they're nothing but the resistance you need to build the strengths that'll make you even more powerful in the end. There's a reason why planes take off against the wind. It's because they need the resistance to climb higher, and you are no different. Today's pain is tomorrow's pleasure. Take it on. Your future self will thank you. You know, we're emotional beings. Some days we're up, other days we're down. Sometimes we can break through barriers, while other times we're too weak to get off the couch. We can feel powerful, then in an instant we can be triggered and feel overwhelmed. I mean, what's going on with our emotions? Why can't we seem to control our inner feelings? And why do we have so many down times? Really, in a single day, you can experience the full range of emotions from highs to lows. How you feel internally is directly related to your external factors, but that's not where the power lies. Where it all begins is with your state, or in other words, your state of mind. When you're in a happy, positive state, the emotions that flow are generally aligned with your positivity. Hence, you act positive, you think positive, and you feel positive. In this state, life's good, and all the outside forces are filtered through this positive lens. But let's look at an example of the opposite that we can all relate to. What's your state first thing in the morning? Are you positive and ready to go? Energized? Unlikely. Most people will start the day in a low activation state. That's why they feel sluggish, maybe grumpy. This experience is being filtered by that low activation state, and our emotions are following. See, how you interpret the world is through your state. It's not the outside factors that affect you. It's how you're filtering these things. So if we want to feel more positive and energetic, it stands to reason that we need to get ourselves into a positive and energetic state. Well, easier said than done. As I mentioned earlier, we tend to drift into negative much easier than positive. We blame the outside world, but again, how we view the outside world is through the lens of our state. So the real issue is, how do we get ourselves into positive states more often? Our brain's default system is to see what's going wrong or what's lacking. And when you're looking for problems, well, guess what? You're going to find them everywhere. You don't even have to look for them because they're fed to you from all directions. Whether it's the news, or gossip or social feeds. There's negativity coming at you from everywhere. And the more we focus on all this stuff, the worse we feel. Our emotions come from this negative state, which is filtering all this information. So no wonder the population thinks the world is bad. Look at what we're being fed. So here's the thing. We don't control the outside forces. We only control how we interpret the forces, which requires that I control my state if I want to keep in a positive mood. All right, there's two ways to do it. First, focus on the positive. Be grateful for what you have. What you look for, you'll find. And second, change your physiology. Get up, get moving, feed or strengthen your body, and you'll start to feel better. Remember, it's all about getting yourself into a better state so that you can filter the world and your emotions will follow.